Let's say China.
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 There are next door neighbors, and you can actually see Russia from land here in Alaska.
You go over to China.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Trump statement, tweeting out insult to Angela Merkel. What's he doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host.
Yes. Hello, and welcome. I am James Andrews, and you are listening to So This Happened, the only news you need if you really, really want to be Time Magazine's Person of the Year. But let's be honest, it's never going to happen. It is Monday, the 27th of November, 2017, and we are back. I hope everybody had an absolutely spectacular Thanksgiving, if you celebrate that sort of thing. Well, it's been a crazy week in the news, and before we start, let's recap what we missed.
My fellow Americans, Melania and I would like to wish you a blessed and joyful Thanksgiving. Nearly 400 years ago, the Pilgrims gathered with Native Americans to give thanks to their first harvest.
For women. To all of you, I just want to again say I am sorry. I know there are no magic words that I can say to regain your trust, and I know that's going to take time. I'm ready to start that process, and it starts with going back to work today.
Well, you said yourself at the start of the segment that he's being accused of relationships with teenagers. Now, to me, that's not accurate, and in fact, it's following in the narrative that the Post tried to set up.
But it is teenagers. It's a 14-year-old, a 16-year-old, and I think two 18-year-olds. They're teenagers.
The 16-year-old and the 18-year-old have no business in that story because those are women of legal age of consent at the time.
But that's not what the article said. The article's talking about teenagers. I mean, you can argue that maybe they shouldn't be writing about teenagers, but the point is it's not inaccurate.
I can tell you one thing for sure. We don't need a liberal person in there, a Democrat. Jones, I've looked at his record. It's terrible in crime. It's terrible in the border. It's terrible in the military. I can tell you for a fact, we do not need somebody that's going to be bad on crime, bad on borders, bad with the military, bad for the Second Amendment. Well, he denies it. Look, he denies it. I mean, if you look at what is really going on, and you look at all the things that have happened over the last 48 hours, he totally denies it. He says it didn't happen. And, you know, you have to listen to him also. You're talking about, he said 40 years ago this did not happen. So, you know.
Did you stop beating your wife? Answer yes or no.
My wife?
Yeah, yes or no. I said yes or no. Well, you don't have an answer for it because it's a logical fallacy, sir. You are a
You were
clown.
asked to ask questions about the issues.
They did not do it. They don't care about
the
doing
issues
that.
about our country. You were not asked to ask personal questions about Mr. Moore. We wanted to hear what he had to say about the issues, and you did not allow it because you are the fake, lying news from the swamp.
In honor of this holiday of gratitude, New Zealand will now perform his famous tribute to Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Scooter.
I think in one case specifically, Senator Franken has admitted wrongdoing and the president hasn't. I think that's a very clear distinction.
President Trump is still backing embattled Roy Moore, and that he is aggravating others in the GOP. The New York Times reports that the president sees the calls for Moore to step aside as a version of the now infamous Access Hollywood tape. The president even privately suggesting that that tape is not authentic. Of course, you'll recall in the hours after the tape came out last year, the president admitted it was him speaking. Listen.
I've never said I'm a perfect person, nor pretended to be someone that I'm not. I've said and done things I regret, and the words released today on this more than a decade-old video are one of them. Anyone who knows me knows these words don't reflect who I am. I said it.
Before the Thanksgiving holiday in this room, so I want to share a few things that I'm thankful for, and I think it would be nice for you guys to do so as well before asking your questions. Obviously, you probably know, and it's no secret, that I'm clearly very thankful for all of you here in the room, and I think that goes without saying. But in all seriousness, I'm very thankful for my family, my faith, particularly thankful for the brave men and women of the military, many of whom are...
Well, I don't know about you, but I am very thankful for all of that. But before we continue today, there is going to be a royal wedding. Break out the flags, bake a cake. Prince Harry is tying the knot. And in many ways, this is going to be one of those spectacular weddings, not because of the pomp and circumstance, but because of who Harry has chosen to be his betrothed. Meghan Markle, the American film actress who is divorced and mixed race. This is a first for the royal family, and it's a great step in the right direction. The couple have said that they plan on marrying next spring, and that Miss Markle is going to be spending a lot of time doing charity work. She is already a campaigner for a variety of humanitarian interests, and she says that once she's married, she will continue to do those. So, Harry, Meghan, congratulations. And in news you may have heard in our little montage just a few minutes ago, but President Trump is now suggesting that the Access Hollywood tapes that we all heard and saw last year when he described grabbing lady bits may not be genuine. And this raises an interesting question. Who was it we saw on those tapes? Does Donald have a body double? And was it in fact the body double who said he liked to grab ladies? We may never know. One thing we do know is the president looked at those tapes and said, I just don't know if that's the president, which is funny because Donald, almost all of us, every time we see you on television say, I don't think that can really be the president, can it? But unfortunately, as we all know, Donald Trump is the president. Now today, he held a press conference at the White House with the Navajo American code talkers from World War II. As three very old gentlemen in their 90s, giving a speech about how important the Navajo code talkers were to the effort in World War II. They gave a very long speech, and Donald Trump is just standing to the side, and if you go watch the video, he looks like a man who is about to fall asleep. He looks so bored. He's fidgeting, his hands keep moving, but that aside, he gets up afterwards to give a speech, and thankfully we are spared that, but he does make one or two slightly racially insensitive comments, particularly about General Kelly when we call him the Chief. You'll hear it, I'm going to play it for you, it's spectacular. General Kelly, Big Chief. And then he also goes on to talk about Elizabeth Warren and how he has nicknamed her Pocahontas, although he actually says they call her this, not me. But anyway, here is the man who calls himself the president.
That was so incredible, and now I don't have to make my speech. I had the most beautiful speech written out. I was so proud of it, look. And I thought you would leave out Iwo Jima. But you got that in the end, too. And I want to tell you, you said you're 90 years old? That's great, because you have good genes. That means the press has got me to kick around for a long time. That was beautiful. I love that, and I loved your delivery. And the code talkers are amazing. And seriously, it is what I said. So what I'm going to do is give you my speech, and I want you to hold that. And I know you like me, so you'll save it.
but that was so well delivered from the heart. That was from the heart. Yes. So I want to give you this speech because I don't want to bore them with saying the same thing you just said. And you said it better, believe me, as you said it right from here. And I mean it from there, too. And you have a lot of great friends. Tom Cole is here, and you know Tom, and you know Jeff. So I want to thank you both, Jeff Dunham. I want to thank you both for being here, and you two for being here. Also, General Dumford, head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and General Kelly. And I have to say, I said to General Kelly, I said, General, how good, here he is right there, the chief. He's the general and the chief. I said, how good were these code talkers? What was it? He said, sir, you have no idea. You have no idea how great they were, what they've done for this country, and the strength and the bravery and the love that they had for the country and that you have for the country. So that was the ultimate statement from General Kelly, the importance. And I just want to thank you because you're very, very special people. You were here long before any of us were here. Although we have a representative in Congress who they say was here a long time ago. They call her Pocahontas. But you know what? I like you because you are special. You are special people. You are really incredible people. And I have to, from the heart, from the absolute heart, we appreciate what you've done, how you've done it.
So there he is, the man who would be president, talking to a bunch of really old Navajos, and he just couldn't resist a little dig at Elizabeth Warren in a really inappropriate setting, to my mind. Anyway, it wouldn't be Thanksgiving if we weren't going to talk about Black Friday, the biggest shopping day of the year. And this year, it was apparently the biggest shopping day for firearms. The FBI reported that it received over 200,000 requests for background checks for people to buy a gun on Black Friday. Now that overtakes the biggest one-day record of all time by over 10%. And this goes to show two things. Firstly, Americans love guns. But secondly, Americans are also a little bit worried that because there have been so many mass shootings recently, people are saying, well, wait a second, maybe guns are to blame and perhaps stronger restrictions are going to come in soon, so I better buy everything I possibly can now so I can build my arsenal, so when I have to get a deeper background check, they won't find out about that time when I beat my wife up. And this does come just a week after the Department of Justice ordered a review of the background check system that is in place for owning a firearm in the US. And finally, before we go, we'll just have a quick chat about Melania Trump. She is very upset with Vanity Fair for perhaps the first time in her life. They printed a story this weekend which suggested that she did not want to become the First Lady. It was an anonymous source who claimed to be a friend of Melania who said that she absolutely did not want to become First Lady. Melania slammed the accusations, saying they were salacious, which I know, I've heard Melania speak as well, and there is literally no way she said the word salacious. And how dare they suggest she didn't want to become First Lady? Haven't you seen the smile on her face every time she's standing next to her husband? What? Oh, wait. No, she's not, is she? She looks absolutely miserable every time she's standing in front of her husband. But her communications director, Stephanie Grisham, said that once again, part of the liberal media, this time Vanity Fair, has written a story riddled with unnamed sources and false assertions. It seems that every time any publication says anything bad about one of the Trumps, they are instantly dubbed the fake media. Anyway, unfortunately, we are at the end of this fake media news program. We'll do it all again tomorrow, Tuesday. It's going to be great. And remember, we can always continue these conversations on Twitter or Facebook, or you can go to the website, showthishappenshow.com, and you can listen to past episodes on there or send messages to me if you would like. Don't forget to subscribe and like and write a nice little review for us on iTunes, so that would be lovely. And we'll chat again tomorrow. Bye-bye.